Welcome to the United We Scan podcast, the podcast by rural carriers for rural carriers. The views expressed in this podcast are of the presenters and the presenters only and do not represent the views, opinions, or strategies of the United States Postal Service or the National Rural Letter Carriers Association. We ask that you please consult your assigned union representative for guidance in your local area. Please like this podcast, share with your fellow rural carriers, and subscribe to be notified each time a new episode is uploaded. Please leave a comment or question for us below. Thank you. Now, here are the hosts of the United We Scan podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. Episode 91. What's in the news? Well, as we all know, our new evaluations came out yesterday. I know a lot of people were panicked early on. There's been a little bit of a delay before they finally showed up in the system. And the big one there appears to be a glitch for those of you that have high optioned and your low option or what was available. So hopefully that gets rectified. It's James and I tonight as of right now. Bill may be joining us later. He had his retirement dinner with his family and whatnot tonight, so he's running a little behind. If he pops in, great. If not, James and I are going to be covering a whole lot of
information.
Yes, I will be reading a lot tonight, just to forewarn you guys, but this is all about your 4241As, M's, and any disputes and whatnot. So on that note, James, how was your week this week?
Well, it was pretty much political fever in the mail today, or this whole week. It's amazing how many flyers we get for somebody who says they don't trust the Postal Service to deliver on time. But yeah, it was a lot of political flyers, which really helped my DPS count, I'll tell you that much. But overall, pretty much a standard week for me as it stands. Had a retirement party for my postmaster, who is done as of next Friday, or this coming Friday. So we wish her well, and I hope that the next person is just as much of a unicorn as she was when it comes to dealing with carriers. And if not, I'll bury him in paperwork. But we were getting rains from the hurricane up here, very light, but still rains from the hurricane. Tropical storm, whatever you wish to call it, by the time they were getting up here. But my hearts and my thoughts and prayers and goes out to everybody that's been affected by this. I know there is sheer and utter devastation across this country, and I know a lot of people lost their lives out there. And so my heart goes out to all those people. I know several of my friends that are storm chasers were down there in that. A few of them were not able to be contacted for several days, and a couple of them still have not been contacted yet. We're hoping and crossing our fingers that they eventually are able to get contact, but this is going to be months before anything's really close to being semi-normal in some of those areas. So I really feel for them. This weekend, I just hung around the house doing stuff and staying out of the rain, but it was pretty good. How about you, Kristen?
Oh, if it wasn't for political mail, I wouldn't have had much mail at all this week. I feel you, James. I do on that one, especially in the DPS. Yeah, it was a week. Normal for the most part. Monday sucked. Tuesday was next to nothing. Wednesday and Thursday were, flats have been pretty heavy, which was, usually it's odd in the middle of the month to be heavy. You usually get them at the beginning of the month, but they seem to be coming in the middle of the month now, so. Other than that, it wasn't a bad week. Got my K-Day yesterday, so it was nice, and Ruby and the other half, we took off and went down to Soaring Eagle Casino and went to a concert last night, and yeah, Ruby's first time away from the little one, and so she was in between bands FaceTiming with her friend who was babysitting. But other than that, not a bad week, so it's just how it is.
Yep.
So you were off yesterday, so you didn't get your evaluation stuff.
but I did find out that I stayed the same 40K, so I'm happy with that. I would be happier if it went up, just like everybody else would be happy if it went up for most people. But yeah, I will get mine on Monday.
I was off as well yesterday, but I popped into the office yesterday afternoon on my way past it and heading out of town, and she already had everything printed out and in envelopes, sealed in envelopes at everybody's cases that weren't there, so I popped in and grabbed it, and yep, I stayed the same too. Still a 46K. I lost 2 minutes. I went from 54.58 to 54.56. So not too bad there. And I'm pretty sure where some of that came from, only because I was making corrections primarily for my collection compartments. Because when they initially did the mapping the first time around on that route, I was not the facilitator for that route with the now retired carrier. Our supervisor at the time did it, and they had put all the hardships as collection compartments. And I finally fixed that in between these last two mini mail surveys. So that took me down from like 14 collection compartments down to 8. So, there was a little bit of a loss there. I haven't compared the two sheets yet to see if there was anything else, but I'm not going to worry about 2 minutes, honestly. So yeah, I stayed the same at a 46K. But those of you who have discrepancies, we're going to kind of start off with what you can dispute. Let me pull that up. I had everything in hard copy, so it's easier for me to read. So if you hear paper shuffling around again, I apologize now. So the Rural Route Evaluation Dispute Process. The U.S. Postal Service and the National Rural Letter Carriers Association have agreed to an alternate dispute resolution process in an effort to resolve disputes outside the formal grievance procedure following the implementation of rural route evaluations effective October 5th, 2024. The Rural Route Evaluation Dispute Process, or RREDP, because we all love those acronyms, will be used to address disputes where the assigned rural carrier has identified potential errors in the time credits provided on the PS Form 4241A. This process will be used to resolve disputes related to the subjects below without the filing of grievances. The parties agree that carriers may dispute the following: an entry of 0 or a questionable number in any data field on the PS Form 4241A that would otherwise expect to have a time credit. An obvious error in any of the following data fields on the PS Form 4241A. And those data fields would be route length, regular, centralized, or total boxes, daily dismounts, daily dismount distance, collection compartments, traffic control points, or TCP, daily activities, miscellaneous time, sorry guys, and office walk distances. The Postal Service and the NRLCA will designate representatives at the district and area levels to review and adjudicate the disputes filed using this procedure. These representatives will work in teams of 2 and will consult with local operations personnel to include the district delivery support specialist as necessary to review and discuss the dispute and further develop the supporting documentation. To initiate a dispute, the assigned carrier and local management representative will complete Evaluation Dispute Form 1. While completing the form, the parties at the local level shall discuss the data field or fields in dispute, and should they agree that an appropriate credit has not been provided, they will annotate the form accordingly. Upon completion, the form with all relevant documents will be forwarded to the manager, labor relations at the district, and the NRLCA district representative. This form must be submitted no later than Friday, October 18th, 2024. The designated representative at the district level will annotate the dispute on the Rural Route Evaluation Dispute Log and assign a district control number before meeting with the NRLCA district representative. District teams will thoroughly review all relevant factors that affect the credit provided in the PS Form 4241A data field in dispute, including any notations of agreements made by the local parties. The team will either agree to a resolution, agree no action will be taken or will impasse the dispute, and complete the top portion of the evaluation dispute form 2, providing an explanation for the final decision within 30 days of receipt at the district level. If the parties are not able to reach an agreement at the district level, Evaluation Dispute Form 1, Evaluation Dispute Form 2, and all supporting documentation will be forwarded to the Area Director Labor Relations or their designee and the NRLCA designated representative. The area team will jointly complete a review of the file. The area team will either agree to a resolution, agree no action will be taken, or will impasse the dispute and complete the bottom portion of the evaluation dispute form 2. If the dispute remains unresolved after the area review, each team member will provide a written recommendation for resolution to accompany the file. A copy of the file will be forwarded to the Director Contract Administration, NRLCA, and the NRLCA Director Labor Relations or their designees within 21 calendar days of receipt at the area level. The headquarters team will jointly review the file and either agree to a resolution, agree no action will be taken, or will impasse the dispute. The team's decision will be in writing and provided to the RREDP team at the area level for further dissemination. The parties agreed that if impasse is reached, the dispute will be referred to step 4 as an interpretive issue. The parties agreed to reassess the dispute process prior to the next rural route evaluation effective date to determine if any changes will be made to these procedures and to update the timelines for submission. So that is the
So
newest one.
in summary, route length, CBU regular total boxes, dismounts, collections, TCPs, activities, miscellaneous time, and distances are the things you can dispute. There are timelines they can follow, but sometimes they extend by mutual agreement.
And I am
Correct?
going to double check my box totals compared to my final when I did my last mapping before I left for national, because that 690 does seem low. So I am going to double check those tomorrow to make sure that my LTM printout is correct with that, because that seems lower than what I actually had.
Yeah. And
And
just
go ahead.
make sure you have paperwork to back up your numbers,
Yes,
because
I will
unfortunately,
go over that here as well. The dispute process issues and documentation. All disputes must include a 4241A, 4241M, and the LTM data page. There is some more information in that, but I see Bill has joined us.
Yes, I have.
How are you, Bill?
Well, there's nothing worse than waiting for your disputes to get back from the management than there is waiting for a table at a restaurant on Sunday night. Oh my God! And this place, Maggiano's, Josh he knows about it, and it is packed all the time. The food is wonderful. It's abundant. The service was just slow because of the amount of people in there, and my wife was sick, so I had to pick up the bill for my retirement and birthday party. I'm not sure how that works, but anyway, I get to see the grandkids and all my sons and their women, and it was just nice, to have the whole family there. And like I said, the food is excellent. So they make a shrimp scampi, and they use the smaller shrimp that which have the good flavor. They're not chewy or anything. Oh my God! And then the creme brulee. Mm-mm-mm. Mm, mm, mm. It's the kill for. It really is.
I love a good
But
creme brulee.
basically, 2 hours and 15 minutes dinner. And it's like, oh, God. But that's okay. It's all's good. everybody's home safe and everybody got their fill. So that's the important thing. How's everybody doing?
We're doing good. How was your final week?
Oh God, are you kidding me? They tried to kill me my last 2 days, Thursday and Friday, double hampers of parcels, political mail out the gazoo. The If you saw my Facebook page where I put my adopted son up there,
Mm-hmm.
he came over to me Friday with about 4 inches of political mail at 10:30, and I said, "Put it in the mist rows." He starts walking away. I said, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I'm going to put it in the mist rows." I said, "You wait until I leave, then you put it in the mist rows." I said, "Because I don't have to kill you the last day I'm here." He started laughing, and then he goes, "Oh, you're serious, aren't you?" My customers, God love them. I almost feel like I'm abandoning family. There's 8 or 9 families I'll stay in contact with, especially a couple of the older couples, and I just I feel like I'm abandoning my family. I really do. 'Cause they're not going to get anybody like me. And some of the notes they wrote in cards to me, that you're a character. The lady posted on a local next door Facebook page, and saying that how wonderful I was and all that. And I told her I was going to sue her for defaming my character. And she said, "But you're a sweetheart." And I said, "No, no, I'm an angry man. I'm an angry, She just, she goes, "No, you're not." She goes, "I know that you're just like my husband." And I said, "Yeah, we all have that soft side." And I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss the kids and dogs, and that's it. I'm not going to miss anything else about the post office. Damn well didn't, I'm not going to miss the money because, that has no bearing on my decision. But um, I'm going to miss my customers because they were like a second family to me.
Completely
You know?
understand that.
Yeah, I even got a little teary-eyed on one customer. I mean, I've gone through, her grandchildren getting married and births and losing her husband and everything, and she's just a spry 93-year-old running around doing her yard work all the time, and she just, "You get over here and you give me a hug like you mean it." And that really, it tugs at your heart. It really does. And tomorrow morning, I don't have to get up. It's like the strangest feeling. It really is.
One can only imagine.
I came in on the ass end there with your description there, and like James said, make sure you get the paperwork
Yep.
because let me tell you, when I explain to people about the dispute process and that each dispute has to be processed individually, and they're like, "Well, if I have 9 disputes," I said, "You have 9 dispute forms." "Oh, that's not worth the time and effort." That's your money. So you better
Absolutely.
make time and effort to file those disputes.
Which was what I was just going to go over here real quick with the disputes. This other page that says the rural route evaluation dispute process will be used to address disputes where the assigned carrier has identified potential errors. Local management and the carrier should discuss and work together to submit the necessary documentation needed to resolve the issue. Listed on the following pages are some common issues being disputed. We're not going to go completely over those at the moment, but I'm going to finish reading this. And the recommended documentation needed at the very minimum that should accompany the dispute. Please remember that each item being disputed should be on its own dispute form along with the necessary documentation. The dispute and the documentation will be sent to the Manager of Labor Relations at the district level by the postmaster and to the NRLCA district representative. Only clear, legible copies should be provided to both parties. Pictures are unacceptable. Hard copy is requested.
So when I did my disputes last time, I had 9 disputes on mine. And I'm going to tell everybody listening to this, when you dispute something, most likely they're going to say no action needed. Don't get discouraged by that. Always dispute what you believe is wrong, because the only way to actually get this corrected is to have a paper trail of the mistakes. And if they continue to have the same mistakes over and over and over, somebody eventually is going to pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I would recommend that when you get the paperwork back saying no action required, you need to talk with your representative as to how they made that determination. I'm currently in a situation where I have an active grievance for 7 days of Z time, and management wants to contend that they're untimely. Well, there is no expiration date to Z time. There is no allotment of Z time until you present it to management. And with my office, we've gone through 1, 2, 3, 4 postmasters and 3 supervisors who never processed my Z time. My local steward, who is new, is unsure about it, and he's trying to resolve my situation for under $2,000, which seems to be the top limit that they'll do it locally. And if he does it for $1,900, fine. I can't. That's close enough. I'm not worried about it. But if he comes back with like an offer of 3 days, well, then we're pushing it to step 2, and then I'm going after the DR to in regards to their approach to the whole situation, because I'm not leaving this in the hands of people who are, let me say, uh, distant from the situation. So, make sure when you get your, disputes back and there is, no action required, talk to those people on our side of the paperwork in regards to how they came to that arrangement.
Question just came up real quick. Is every key turn considered a central unit? Yes. So if you have 3 units together, 3 different key turns, in the proper way that they should be in the DPM is each key turn box should be under the group mailbox grouping together, even though they may all be under one stop, but
Yep.
each grouping, each key turn, every box that is in that key turn should be grouped together under the
buddy.
box grouping. So we did upload, if you guys are on our Discord, I did upload the 4241A cheat sheet, and as well as the dispute process stuff under manuals. I'll get them in the Facebook group eventually later on, but probably today or tomorrow, we'll see.
Now, did everybody get their evals back or not? Because I know our office didn't get them out.
I got mine. I stopped in and picked it up.
Yeah.
I stayed the same. Lost 2 minutes.
Mine was printed. I was told I was a 40K for my postmaster, but I didn't go in and get mine. I'll get it on Monday.
Yeah, I'm interested just to see where my route, and yes, nope, it's still my route. It'll be my route until I die. It went up with the all the walk distances that we have inside the building and out to our vehicles, especially since the quarter-mile parking lot walk has been contested by management since they moved the spots. Our local steward wants to argue, well, it was during the MMS study itself that they turned around and had the opportunity to change our distances, but waited until after the mini mail survey changed the parking lot distances when they moved our vehicles. And he's arguing, well, you should have done that before because you had until, what was it, the 6th, September 6th, to get that done.
Yes.
And so if not, they're gonna grieve that too. Can't win unless you grieve it.
Exactly.
And if you bitch about it and don't do anything about it, it's on you too.
Yeah.
I keep saying people have to learn to step up.
Definitely. I'm going to be double checking my info tomorrow. Like I said, I just popped in and grabbed it while I was there. But I will be actually going over it this week just to double check and make sure my numbers are correct.
Speaking of numbers being correct, we are hearing from a lot of people that went through the rural route optimization as well as route cuts that their routes are now overinflated using the last 12 months data on their route because it's including all the information from the route before it was cut. So those individuals need to be aware that their routes are overvalued for what they have in the most part for some people. Some people are actually still overburdened even after route cuts, but some of them will most likely drop in the next 2 surveys. So just be aware of that coming.
Yeah, as it is a 52-week rolling average. So, yeah, those that have been adjusted, optimized, however, especially those that have been cut, and even new routes that have been formed from the cuts or added onto, you may be over evaluated or even under evaluated in some instances. But, give it another too many mail survey cycles and it should even out to where it should be. Supposed to. And I would definitely, and that was something that I know that has been said in the past, by union representation, that it very well, if you were cut from a 48 to a 43, you very well could go back up under this first mini mail survey because it is using that previous data.
Which is amazing to think that we have such quote unquote accurate systems that supposedly they can tell us the exact value of each mailbox we deliver to, but yet when they cut a route and move those boxes around, the values don't move with the box.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what was concerning me over the last couple of days is seeing information that people are posting up there that they can't compare their flats on their end of run report in regards to what's coming from the plant, the 19%. Yeah, they're talking anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks out. So you know the transparency issue is there again. How do you justify the numbers that they're utilizing? Where can we prove that these numbers are accurate in any sense of the word of accuracy? Because of the fact that can't match them up with what you're getting. I mean, one person at IME turned around and said, "I for 4 weeks, I've counted my raw, I've counted my bundles. If you add the 19%, it doesn't work out. If you leave 19% off, it doesn't work out. How do I know I'm getting what I'm entitled to?" And unfortunately, you don't.
Yeah, that is the biggest issue, I believe, with that as well. Which, and especially with the flats and the bundles, that could affect your coverage factor, number one, because your percentage, because as we all know, these GPS breadcrumbs aren't always accurate when it comes to that. And if you don't have mail that's showing up in the informed visibility, i.e., bundled flats, raw mail, and you're stopping at this box and that's all they had was raw mail or a bundled flat, then it's not always showing. I mean, my coverage percentage was only 71% for my regular boxes and 46% for my CBUs.
And don't forget your raw flats too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
especially for the CBUs, and they sit there and say, "Well, if your first one's doesn't get any mail through the informed visibility or through DPS, then you're not getting credit." Whoa, 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 whoa! That does not cover every aspect of mail we receive for that particular address,
Mm-hmm.
and you just can't turn around and say, "Oh, this is more accurate than the old system." Well, this was created to pay us for what we actually do. And yet management is hammering us to get the cost down, to cut down your distances, to cut down your your casing time and everything else. I mean, it's another money grab. And then they threw the third money grab in there with the optimization program. I was like, oh my God, how much more do you need to take out of our paycheck? Yes, I'll say
It's
our paycheck because I still consider myself a rural carrier.
it's amazing to me to think that all these managers are fighting to cut these routes. And yet I heard from another carrier who has an aux route in their office that is almost to an underburdened route, almost underneath 40H, and they won't put the aux route on their route because they'll lose a supervisor. They're more concerned about saving management's job than rural carrier routes.
Mm-hmm.
Drink to that.
I talked about it before. We went from 1 in 20 supervisors, one supervisor per 20 carriers, one manager per 20 carriers, to 1 in 7, since 1997
Too
in
many
this
chiefs, not
company.
enough Indians.
Exactly. And
It's really.
transparency completely lacking across the board. And we need information. We are in the information age. People are listening to this podcast for information because they're not getting information from the sources. And we need that transparency. We need these numbers. We need a system telling us the values that are coming through our route every single day not some printed out sheet of paper. We need an app or a computer program or something we can actually access to look at to see what our values are. Because otherwise, we're sitting here in the dark. We do the dispute process, get the no action needed, and then we're wondering, were we wrong on that? Or did they just say no action needed because they didn't want to actually pay us more money?
I'm
But-
finding
and that,
more.
that
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say
That
I'm
goes back.
finding.
Go ahead. Ladies
Asshole.
first. Go ahead.
As I'm kind of perusing through stuff and I'm finding more Rex stuff, information that I know many people have not read, and it is important to get on there and read it. One that I just came across, and it's a USPS job aid, and it's the RX maintenance, and it is several pages long, 13 pages long. I'm not going to read all 13 pages, but I'm going to read the first page here. This is the first page of the job aid, and this is important for everybody. The overview. Rex maintenance is the ongoing process of updating, recertifying across AMS, DPM, and LTM after first Rex mapping is complete. Carriers should make updates based on any qualifying changes to the route to ensure that Rex properly credits and compensates the carrier for the route activity performed once effective. The job aid will provide an overview of steps on how to complete Rex maintenance. Qualifying route changes. Route changes that require completing Rex maintenance include, not an exhaustive list, adding, removing delivery locations to and from the route, activating, inactivating seasonal delivery of specific addresses, changes to the line of travel, changes to the route longer than 30 days, addition or subtraction of dismounts to the route, changes of vehicle type, POV to government-owned vehicle, changes to inter-unit service points, additions or changes to traffic control points, addition and removal of a detour without a change in delivery sequence. Some route changes require Rex maintenance updates across both DPM and LTM. Others require Rex maintenance updates in only LTM. The situations above that are marked with an asterisk next to them are those that require updates in only LTM, which is your traffic control points and your addition or removal of detour without a change in delivery sequence. Check for required Rex maintenance. At the new LTM homepage, check whether DPM AMS alignment issue alert is present. If present, this means that at least 20 or more active addresses are out of sync between the most recently submitted DPM edit book and the latest AMS edit book sent to LTM, which requires Rex maintenance to resolve. Resequenced addresses do not count towards the 20 box threshold. Click on the alert to review a side-by-side comparison of the DPM edit book and the AMS edit book at the DPM AMS edit book alignment details page. This table will indicate whether an address was unchanged, added, inactivated, deleted, or assigned a different order, resequenced, in AMS when compared to DPM. This table also reflects details on complex parent-child routes, such as the source route of an address. So that is just the first page. I'm not going to read all 13 pages. It goes into detail. I will make this one available to our Discord people under manuals. But yeah, guys, I mean, definitely, you're a dues paying member. Get on that website. Go on the main page. Click on the Rex resources and the Rex training. Both of those tabs. And that's where you're going to find a lot of good information, especially those that are struggling with your routes and have lost a lot of hours and want to do all that stuff. I mean, there's even the latest MDD TR release from July and some of that updates, that stuff that is all available to you. And it's all right on the main page under the tabs. You'll see the welcome tab, the members resources, then you have Rex resources and Rex training. I mean, a year and a half into this, come on. And especially for newer carriers as well. It is there available to see all of this, and a lot of it, the cheat sheet was updated. The 4241A cheat sheet was updated on April 1st. The delivery point manager user guide was updated November of 23. It does have the dates of when it was updated. The MDD activity scan quick guide was updated May 31st of this year. We will be going over that in a future episode as well. We'll update on that. But, the 2024 mini mail survey resource page was updated August 8th. They are keeping this updated, so definitely get on there and get that information. It's right there. It's available.
And not only are people supposed to be on top of this every month, Kristen, but if I hear one more person, I'm not going to mention Don Matson, my name, tell you that the decrease in mail volume, aka the DPS, which is not worth anything on a per minute basis, you need to be on these numbers for your flat. Whatever's coming in on these reports, because of the fact that money on those flats, whether they're bundled flats or whether it's political mail, whether it's a local newspaper dropping things off, those are the numbers that are going to affect you greater than the DPS, because the DPS values are so low. You could have 2 trays of DPS and drop down to 1, or 3 trays drop down to 1, and it wouldn't really marginally affect your pay because the values are so little. But the flats and the parcels, the scans, the stops, key turns, the parcel lockers, the deliveries to the door, all those things add up.
Yes, they do.
I'm so surprised to still see where people are dropping 2 and 3 hours after the 4th, mini mail survey. And I'm not understanding why, there's such a dramatic drop, because technically you could have 1 tray of DPS and it wouldn't affect your route by hours.
Well, and under the 4241 cheat sheet, which I suggest y'all go look at, because it does tell you where your information from the A can be found on the M. The M is the breakdown, and then under that cheat sheet, it also has the breakdown for the M and where it's found on the A. I'm just going to give an example since I have both of mine right here with me, especially when it comes to package delivery. I want to give you guys, and this is where your mapping comes into key point on where you're mapping your park point and your delivery point for to the door. And when you look at your 4241M, it's gonna say, let me find it, under your parcels, it's gonna say your out of route drive. That's your mail stop to your parking point. And then underneath that is your out of route walk, which is your parking point to your delivery location, to your door pinpoint. I mean, when I look at mine and my 12-month average activity frequency, my out of route drive says 9,168.86. My out of route walk says 2,455.62. I mean, I can look at that because my parcels on my 4241A says 495.08 minutes. So those are the values that really add up.
Yep.
And that's my street volume time. My office time for parcels is 258.07 minutes. I mean, that's how those correlate, that street volume time with your parcels, and you're verifying your mail. And, like I said, that cheat sheet, I mean, obviously it's kind of hard unless I was able to do a PowerPoint or a point presentation to record it. But those cheat sheets are available on the website. I just made them available for those of you that are on Discord. But that will tell you how your 4241M correlates to your 4241A totals. And that's why the mapping is so important on making sure that your mail stop, your mail delivery point, your mailbox point is correct, as well as your park point and your delivery point, your to the door point, because those can make a big difference. As well as your load time is an average over the exact time, the straight time, and then it's an average for your load time, and your end of shift time is an average of the straight time of your end of shift time. Now think about how those can affect it. Especially your end of shift duties. I mean, that's emptying. The moment you shut that truck off, you hit return to DU, that starts your end of shift time. That's empty. That's unloading the truck at the end of when you get back. That's putting everything away. That's your case maintenance. That's your labels, your edit book. If you have holds going up for the next day, that's when I do mine. If I have a hold that I have the card for the next day, I'm doing those when I get back and putting those up under my end of shift. That's your mapping. Your mapping is supposed to be done end of shift to be built into your evaluation. I know there's a lot of offices out there who have done it during 8127 time in the morning.
Or under loading time.
Under loading time. Technically,
yeah,
it's supposed to be end of shift. But, I mean, if you're doing it under loading, at least you're getting the time towards the evaluation. However, the 8127 time is not going to do anything for you for your evaluation. And if your office is not mapping like they're supposed to be doing every month, you need to contact your DR. File a grievance if that's what it takes. File multiple grievances if it's still not getting done after the first one's processed. And if management's still having an issue, contact your DR and see if there is a mapping facilitator available to come to your office to help you get that assistance.
Here's a comment that a lot of officers are told to go on PM casing as well. No. Contact your local union representative. That's not the agreement.
No, PM casing stops your end of shift duties.
Sure
your
does.
end of shift time. You're still on the clock.
Our national magazine put out the article. Mapping is the most important part of the mini mail survey. It's right there for everybody to read in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And it explains that it's management's responsibility to get it done every month.
Yes. It is important.
Your driving is the biggest factor in your evaluation. That mapping determines your driving on your evaluation. If you're not taking care of the driving portion of your evaluation, you're practically cutting your route in half in evaluation.
Yeah, those park points and to the door points are huge, as well as making sure, yes, your mapping, your mail stops. Those are big. That is, I mean, that DPM and LTM are huge when it comes to your evaluations.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Since I don't have a POV, are they still doing line of sight travel from a mailbox to a resident? You do your park point for delivering?
No,
they're not.
No, they're using you're using the mapping, and it's actually the measurements between those boxes on the mapping that determine the drive speed between the boxes. So if your box is further from the box before it than it should be, you could be putting yourself into a different speed matrix bracket, a different level on the speed matrix.
No, you're missing.
And the distance is.
You're missing the point, James. If I have a box on the street and I'm delivering it to a house and it's a quarter mile away, but the line of sight is an eighth of a mile.
No, there is no line of sight. It's up to a half mile regardless.
Okay, because like I said, I don't have a POV, so
yeah, we have.
I didn't realize whether or not they're getting the mileage on that.
No, they're not getting as it comes to mileage. Still, any deliveries with POV, your mileage, your EMA calculation mileage is the driving of the route. Anytime going down driveways to deliver packages is still not included in your mileage for the POV.
And that's not right.
And I agree.
Not included, hold on. It's not included in the mileage for the POV, but it is included in your route evaluation for out-of-route miles.
Yes.
So you do get some compensation on that, where before we never got compensation for that.
Yeah, the out-of-route drive is where it falls under.
Yeah, the out-of-route drive, and then the out-of-route walk also gets on there too. So you get time for walking to the door. Straight line for both, but still. Because mapping doesn't discern roads. Obviously, we found that out with RRO when it was sending it through people's backyards.
We're across creeks and there's no bridge.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold it. If you're in North Carolina, there's no roads anymore. Them poor people. Oh my God.
too soon,
Uh,
too
I'll,
soon.
Too soon. Too
I'll
soon.
tell you, I'll tell you what. No, I'm serious. My heart goes out to them people. I can't believe that road is gone. Was it Route
I
40?
can't believe
Yeah,
towns
I-40.
are gone. I-40's gone. Yep. There was actually, just saw a picture of a road that got washed away just from the water running down the ditch. The entire 2 lanes wide gone because of the ditch. It
Yeah,
wasn't even a stream or a river. It's just the runoff from the road washed the road away.
Mm-hmm.
it's just God bless
I
you all. Just
have a
be
friend of a
safe.
friend of a friend in North Carolina. They were in their house when the mudslide hit. They were able to escape safely along with their pets, so they are safe. But they were in their house, and the picture that I saw is just absolutely devastating. You see this little peek through the mud, a car up against a tree, and just imagine that they survived that and were able to get out with their animals is just, it's a blessing. So yes, my heart goes out to everybody that Eastern Tennessee and Western North Carolina that have been absolutely devastated. It's just,
Yep.
yeah.
And the worst part is those two parts of the country never really saw it coming
Mm-mm.
in that direction. They were not ready for this.
And it just
Most,
the amount of rain that came down so fast that caused the flash flooding and the mudslides and just it's heart wrenching.
and not to mention failures of
Mm,
dams too.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
even if the dam is still standing, if the water eroded the sides of the dam and got around it that way, it's still considered a dam failure because the water is lower behind the dam than the dam would hold held back. But even so, with the amount of water they got, with it overtopping the dam, it wouldn't have mattered. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just these people were completely unprepared for any of this because they've never considered anything like this ever happening in their area. I mean, they've had
Yeah.
plans for stuff like that in their emergency operations center and stuff, but it's never been something like, oh, we get almost 2 feet of rain in a single day. They never planned for that,
And it doesn't help when
So
your emergency operations center gets washed away either.
Yeah.
I mean,
true.
whole towns just disappeared.
Yeah.
Or
That's heartbreaking.
like Florida, where they got rid of getting grants for their emergency operations center.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there really is no way to actually plan for that. I mean, just
You can do worst case scenarios in emergency operations, but until it's actually truly happening, you can't fully prepare for the extent of it. You can plan for a lot of it and plan resources and things like that. Like I will tell you, the linemen from up here left 2 days before the storm even was a hurricane. They were already heading down that way. So there's a lot of resources from our area, from out west, from way up in Maine, all down in that area trying to help get this country put back together and at least operational so they can clean up. But it's going to take a long time and it could be even years before everything is back to full normal.
Oh, hell yeah.
oh, at
Yeah.
least. At least.
You know,
Mhm.
It's
prayers are with them, and if you can, you contribute to perf so that help some of the carriers out.
Mhm.
Goodwill, Red Cross, whatever. Do whatever you can.
Especially for the
And
RCAs.
yeah, yeah. I don't
There's
know that you
there's
can direct it in that fashion, but
Yeah, but I can tell you that our RCAs especially are the ones that are hit hardest by this stuff.
mhm.
There's provisions for emergencies for career employees, but I'm not totally versed on the ones for non-career. But I will tell you this, out of everything, our rural carriers and our city carriers are the backbone of normalcy after these things happen. So once they
Yep.
allow us to get back to normal work, we're going to be the stewards of comfort in a time of crisis by showing them that the postal service is there and it's a normal thing they can see.
Donations to PERF can be done online at postalrelief.com, or you can send in a check made payable to Postal Employees Relief Fund, and that address is Postal Employees Relief Fund, P.O. Box 41220, Fredericksburg, Virginia 22404-1220. By contributing to PERF for the Combined Federal Campaign, CFC, designate number 10268. I will post that information on both the page, the group, and the Discord in a little bit. And the
And
the PERF, the Postal Employees Relief Fund, so National Disaster Strike. Postal employees are welcome. Sites delivering vital supplies and mail, but who takes care of them? Postal employees, Postal Service employees who are victims of natural disasters, fellow postal employees. So I will set up, and I think that, yep, there is a link for that as well. I'll put that up there for everybody.
and if there are any carriers out there in the affected areas that are listening to this and want to tell their story of what happened, how your management handled it, and things like that, feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to tell your story. If you
Even if
wish
it's
for
an
us to tell.
even if you don't want to come on and talk, we understand. Send us an email, unitedwescanpodcast@gmail.com. Go ahead, send us an email. We will be happy to read that. We'll keep you, if you don't want your name and location out there, that's fine. We don't have to do that. But, definitely if you want to share that, we will be happy to read any emails that receive, or if you want to come on and talk, if you're available to come on and talk, you're more than welcome. Just reach out to us, and same email address, and we'll set something up with you. You can do it from your
Or you,
phone. If you want to, I'll figure out a way. I think I can hook up my phone to the sound box. I'll have to play with that a little bit. So even if somebody could call, um, reach out, and I'll let you know for sure if I can get that working or not. And I may be able just to hook up the phone and do it as a phone conversation as well.
or message the page, message us on social media. Um, we're all available to reach out to if you want to tell your story to us.
Hmm.
Um, or anything that's going on concerning what management's doing after the storm too, because it's important for your stories to be heard.
And even if there's essentials, if you have a place that something can be sent to, I know, you know, newborn clothes. We're growing out of our newborn boy clothes. I mean, if there's something like that that's needed that people have extras of, stuff, clothing, or anything that's been lost, let us know. We will put something together to get stuff, addresses or something, PO box. We'll we'll help one way or another. We'll pull our resources. We all take care of each other. We all know that.
Yes.
We'll figure it out. I mean, look at what has been done in Florida in the past with hurricanes and getting people necessities. I mean, we reach out to everybody in the country. So if there's something you need that needs to be replaced that can be done, we will help facilitate that. Not a problem.
I thought it was great. There was a store down there, a large, like almost farm feeds type store,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a large parking lot, and they were offering people, places to park their RVs or their cars or whatever they needed to. They were offering them showers. They were offering food, everything. They had clothing being donated and everything everything was going to be free. If you needed, just give them a call. They had charging stations set up all over the parking lot for people. It's nothing like a natural disaster to bring out the best in people and the worst. But the thing of it is that the best of people rises to the top, and that's one thing about this country is that we come to each other's aid.
Yep,
Amen to that.
absolutely. All right, guys. Do we have anything else we want to go over this evening?
I got stuff for next week, so we're good on that.
Okay. Ooh, suspense.
Got to keep people in suspense to listen to the next episode, right?
Right. They went a little crazy when we weren't on for a couple weeks. So
Yeah. Well, hopefully we won't have to do any midweek episodes or anything like that. So
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be a good week this week, and we can just do our standard episodes. If not, we'll be in midweek too.
If
You
so,
never know.
you never know. It could be anything. You never know. We'll do what we can when we can. That's for sure.
That's why you always take each day as it comes, because you never know what tomorrow brings.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's, somebody says to me, remember to tell everybody that you love them, because tomorrow's not promised to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ain't nothing like hugging your grown ass sons on your retirement birthday party and telling them that you love them. It's
Yeah.
one of those things that, you don't know. I had a customer, 93 years old. Him and his wife were in the kitchen Monday, and they're preparing dinner, and he heard a thud, and he turned around, and she's on the floor and passed away. It's just,
Oh,
you know, one day they're there, one day they're not, and don't take any day for granted.
absolutely. No, you can't take any day for granted.
That's right, Mr. Johnson. If you don't feel safe, turn around.
Yep. Your safety is the number one priority for everybody,
Yep. And once you hit that
especially
street,
yourself.
safety is your call as a carrier. And that's what that Form 1767 is for when you get back to the office.
Don't ever risk your life for a piece of paper or an Amazon package.
Not worth it.
Because they'll replace the Amazon package, but your family can't replace you.
And remember, if something doesn't feel right, if you're uncomfortable for half a second about something, that's when you make the decision to turn around, because that is the moment where you're either going to make a critical mistake or you're going to make the right decision. I can tell you some stuff from my life that, let me tell you, it just takes a moment to turn wrong, turn left instead of turn right, and you don't know what you're stepping into. So if the hairs on the back of your neck, or if your gut starts, boiling over, you get a little queasy, that's when you need to make that U-turn and go back.
Yes. And that includes delivering to a house. If something feels off as you're headed into the house, stop. Don't go up
Yep.
that driveway. Leave a
With
notice.
Yeah, you reminded me of something. We did have a letter carrier shop in Wisconsin
Hmm.
for delivering the person's political candidate's opposition's advertisement.
Oh my God.
Yes. And this is that time of year where people's opinions get very opinionated. And that person is going to go away for life. And the carrier survived, just so you guys are clear. Carrier survived. But that's a risk we take every single day out here, and we cannot wait for them to pass this bill, Protect Our Letter Carriers Act, because stuff like this has to stop. These are just people running for a position. They aren't life and death. They aren't the end of the world. They're just people.
And we're just
And
doing our
nobody,
jobs, delivering what's addressed to the address.
no matter what position you are running for, no matter what you are doing in this situation, you are still just a person. You can have your opinions, but you should not use violence to push your opinions. No matter what you think about the other people, it's just not right.
You
You
get a
shouldn't be. I'm beside myself that somebody would take a 10-cent mailer and use that as an excuse to try to take somebody's life.
Yeah, and all they were doing was doing their job of delivering the mail.
What they were paid to do, and the person paid for that flyer to go to that person's house, whoever the agency was that paid for it.
No, if this is a scenario where that person, instead of pulling a trigger, should have just took it and threw it away.
Yeah, threw it
It's
away, used
not the
their fire
carrier's.
starter.
It's not the carrier's fault, and unfortunately, it is sad. Thankfully, they survived, but they will forever be changed.
They might not ever come back to work because of it. Because
A
I
lot
can
of
tell you,
Go ahead,
the
James.
fear of going back to that route specifically in that office, even that office maybe, but that route specifically will most likely cause them post-traumatic stress, and they may never work the route again. And if they're the ones assigned to that route and management says, well, we can't take you off that route because that's what you're assigned and there's no other option, that person will have to, because of PTSD, will have to take disability retirement due to PTSD.
And that was what I was going to point out to you, James. I mean, there are so many situations where, carriers have been attacked by dogs and mauled and can't go back onto the route that they served. They can't go back to a route, period, because if they go to a new route, they don't know the dogs on that route and they don't know how they're going to react. Or, in the situation that we had where a carrier struck and killed a small child and he lost it. He mentally lost it and could not get back in the vehicle.
I would
He
probably be
actually,
the same way.
he actually, cased up his route one day after, being off probably 2 or 3 weeks and all. Cased up his vehicle, pulled it down, went out to the truck, opened it up, and realized if he went out there, he was going to go on the route where he killed it, and he just lost it right there in the parking lot. I mean, I'll tell you what, I might be angry, Bill, but there's no way I could go back out there if I ever killed a child. No, I couldn't. I don't know how you live with yourself, let alone try to go back to your job after that.
Even if it wasn't your fault.
Yeah, and it wasn't their fault, and but you can't bring that child back, whether it's your fault or not, and you've owned that responsibility even though it wasn't yours. And God, help you if it ever happens, because an old fart like me, okay, he deserves to die. But a 4-year-old child, no.
No,
I can say
it's
that. I qualify as an old fart now since I'm retired.
Don't worry that your walker's in the mail, but it's got to go through Palmetto.
That's oh, thanks a lot. I won't see it for 5 years, so I have at least 5 years to live. Waiting for my walker.
Sorry, I had to finish this on a little bit more positive note because,
Yeah.
but so I just got an update on the rain volume that was dumped over the United States approximately during this hurricane. 40 trillion gallons of water. To give you an idea of what it would be, it would fill approximately 60 million Olympic-sized pools. If you were to put the water in a football field size area, it would be 1,800 feet deep. 40 trillion gallons could supply over 1.3 billion people with water for a year. The state of Texas would be covered in 3 feet of water, and it could fill Lake Michigan more than 18 times. That's how much water was dumped by this system.
Wow, that's a lot of water. And
in a very short amount of time.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And technically, considering the area it was in, a very small area. I mean, you're considering the state of Texas 3 feet of water, and some areas recorded 2 feet of rainwater at least.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That just came across my news feed.
Mother Nature is a bitch.
And that was
That's why
all.
she's mother.
That was 100% Gulf of Mexico water. Water that had evaporated out of the Gulf of Mexico.
That means the Gulf of Mexico is 6 feet shallower.
Well, you got the Atlantic Ocean feeding into it, so the ocean added to that. So you're probably looking at about a foot lower. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
amazing.
that's a lot of water, and now it's all making its way back to the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico from the mountains.
All right, guys, time to wind this down tonight.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan.
Go for it, James.
Well, pay attention to your numbers. Pay attention to what management is doing. Do your mapping. We keep pushing this. So does our union national office. Keeps pushing. Do your mapping. It's the most important part of your evaluation, aside from the numbers of mail that you get and packages and stuff. Mapping is the most important thing that you can control. You control where the mailbox is placed. You control where the park point is, the door delivery, and sometimes the mail stop if it's a dismount location. But mapping is integral to your evaluation, and it's part of your end of shift duties. Bury management in paperwork if they will not let you map. It doesn't matter if you have no changes to your route whatsoever. You need to do your mapping. Because like I found and grieved in my office that the system is changing houses vacant when I get PARS labels. So I grieved it. Pay attention to your mapping. It's not just your vacants, it's also active. It'll turn boxes active if you get a first class letter for the address. Even if the house is vacant and you're sending it back to the sender, you're returning it to the sender, it's marking it active. That'll affect your coverage factor. Because if you're only getting that one piece for the year, your coverage factor is going to go down. So you got to pay attention to all your addresses in your mapping. Make sure you're delivering to the door every day because it will move your door delivery location. I found this out as well myself. It's moved my door delivery location, especially if I sometimes put it at the covered porch or at the garage, depending on whichever the customer wants me to do. It'll change that location if you scan it further up the driveway or up the sidewalk a little bit from the front door. Pay attention to your mapping. Pay attention to your traffic points, because if you are not delivering to a location for a while, it may cut off that section. So if you have a road that you don't go down in, say, the wintertime, it may cut it off. Pay attention to it. Mapping is very important. Your numbers are in. Management should have gotten them to you Saturday. They didn't. They need to get them to you Monday. If they do not have them Monday when you ask, file a grievance. They should have been printed Saturday. And they're going to argue, oh, it wasn't available in the morning. It was available after 11 a.m. for everybody. It rolled out 2 offices slowly between 8 and 11 to try and not overburden the system. So, should have been there. Be safe out there, everybody. Stand together. Stand united. Because when we stand together, we show management we're all in this together. Bill?
Well, I'd like to say I'm retired and don't give a shit and have nothing to contribute, but that's not how I am. I'm still involved. I'll still be helping my local office and other carriers around the area, even though I'm not a steward. But the fact of the matter is, they can't do nothing to me, so screw them, because that's one of the things I do. I help people, and I will continue to, as long as I'm involved in the union, and I'll be involved with our local union, our state union, and maybe even the convention next year. I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but will be involved with this podcast and my people and my customers, everybody listening, because of the fact that, might be an asshole, but I'm a caring asshole. And I'm the best asshole I can be, for the carrier's sake, because that's, you're all the people that I care about. And, it's touched me over the years, all the condolences and congratulations. And, like I said, I feel like I've abandoned my customers to some unknown entity that's not going to serve them like me. And they won't, because there's only one Bill May. So remember, you are the most important delivery of the day. Get home safely to your loved one, and just send a prayer or two out to all our brothers and sisters in the states that have been affected by this hurricane. They're gonna need it, especially like James said, the RCA's.
Thank you, guys. It's been a week, and definitely my heart goes out to everybody affected by the hurricane. Touching on what James was saying with watching your boxes and stuff. When you turn your edit books in each month, you can request new edit sheets. And when you get new edit sheets, compare them with your active boxes and your inactive boxes to your prior edit sheets before you replace them in the book. Take a look at them and see if something's been deactivated that shouldn't have been. definitely look in, double check when you get new edit sheets, double check them against the old ones to make sure that they are correct. Because that's going to be the first time I had a route in my office that had 4 of them that were as inactive. He never inactivated those ever. And I said, "Did you check your edit sheets?" And he's like, "No, I haven't." I said, "Double check them. Get new edit sheets and double check them." So definitely pay attention to that as well. End of shift duties, guys. Do it on end of shift duties. You get your 4241, your 4241A and 4241M. Look over them during end of shift duties. Go through them then. That's your end of shift duty stuff. That's all included in that. Do those. If you got stuff to dispute, make sure that you're getting hard copies of all the information that you need to do those disputes. Again, those disputes have to be in by December 18th, which is a Friday. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else I wanted to go for. My mind's running a mile a minute right now, guys. But yeah, on that note, again, congratulations to Bill on your retirement.
Yes.
Yes. Happy for you, definitely. And everybody stay safe out there. Stay vigilant. And take care of each other. That's the main thing. We have to take care of each other. We have to be able to make sure that each one of us gets home safe to our loved ones each night, and we have to do that. Look out for each other as well. So, on that note, guys, stay safe this week. Stay vigilant. Go through your new evaluations. Make sure everything is correct. I know I'm going to be double checking mine over the next couple days, and yeah, guys, we'll be back next week. And stay safe, guys. Have a good one. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Hasn't changed.